Maybe.
Welcome to Stirring the Pot with Lou Marconi and Johnny Cleveland. Part of the Fanatical L's Network, fans first. Join us now. Oh yeah, join us now, Lou. How you doing? On this Christmas Eve of the Eve.
Christmas
right?
Eve. Yeah, it stays
Yes.
December 23rd. Yeah, I'm doing great. I'm doing really good. I didn't even stay up for the whole game last night with the Cowboys and the Buccaneers because Baker Mayfield was playing. And I just beat. I was just exhausted.
Yes.
A lot of things going on. A lot of Christmas present wrapping.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things. It's that time of the year, man, when things are happening. Appreciate it. Thank you for having me on. Of course, it's our show.
Well, it's our show. We're stirring the pot today. All these other people are stirring the pot. Yeah. So we decided to come on early because we're so excited. We have to just get all of this out right now.
We're itching to just do this.
Plus, I got some Christmas shopping still to do. So,
Yeah. We got family obligations to tend to. So yeah, but I just a little programming on some Combat Zone for the Stewcast. We're going to do that Thursday.
Okay.
At 12:35, and Sherry and I are planning on doing our show on Friday.
Okay.
So
great.
Yeah.
Well, we wish everybody a Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Everybody.
We will hope everyone gets all the fun Christmassy gifts that from Santa, and Santa treats you well. Hopefully you haven't been bad.
Watch football on Netflix.
God. Yeah. So lots of things to talk about today. I don't know where to start. I guess Myles Garrett's been in the game. Let's start with the game. What was your observations?
Well, it's the same. It's been an ongoing story all year. The mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
You notice that Donta Foreman didn't touch the ball again after that.
No, and he hadn't touched the ball for 5 weeks prior. Some people are trying to say how I don't know, they're trying to tank. I don't know if you heard my take last night, Lou. I'm sick.
No, I did not.
I'm sick and tired of people trying to suggest that the Browns are trying to tank right now. I'm just bull crap, and I don't like it. And anyway, so the whole D'Onta Foreman coming in, okay, he had a good run. He actually got the first down prior. It was a good defensive play. Obviously he didn't score, and it really was a bad start. I mean, it was a good start and then a bad start, and but
a good start that ended in a bad way.
Well, we could have. I mean, our defense could have stepped up and done some things instead of giving up a 99-yard.
Yeah, that 5-yard penalty didn't help either because we were being overly aggressive. That was a second-year Diabate mistake.
Yes.
Yeah, it's and outside of that first drive and that one, pretty much that towards the end of the game when Myles jumped off sides and pretty much everybody kind of stopped.
Yeah,
and they didn't blow a whistle, so obviously they scored a touchdown. I'm sitting there going, okay, this is that's kind of like how the afternoon went. Right. Defense overall, I mean, Cincinnati has a very good offense.
Oh, yeah.
Best offense in the NFL. We had to score points, and DTR isn't the guy. I mean, they didn't start moving the ball until they changed up their philosophy on offense. They started doing more of the run pass options. I'm like, oh, here we go. Where was this in the first half, Dorsey? I'm sitting there thinking that, but otherwise, I mean, the mistakes, the turnovers, the mistakes. It's just
the turnovers, the mistakes.
It's just an ongoing story, and it's like we could finish. We have like a 4% chance of getting the first pick in the draft, and we guaranteed top 10. The highest we could draft is 9th, and I think the lowest the highest I should say first, and the lowest would be 9th. That's what I should say.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, I think we're going to get a very good player with the right people making the decisions, and also this was reported. I was listening to a watch along towards the end of the game. I'm not going to say the person's name, but it was reported before the game, I think by Aditi Kikabwala, if I'm not mistaken, saying that she talked to Haslam and he's not firing anybody.
Right.
That Yeah, okay. So I put that in my article,
Yeah.
and I made a new followers because somebody gave me kudos for not calling for people to be fired. I said, "Well, what's the point if I do?" Yeah, it was Swell or something. He was called Big D, and said, "Well, okay, Big D, thank you." And
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that because it's funny when I do podcasts in other cities with
Mhm.
other markets and other
Yes.
fan bases. They all they kind of sound the same.
Uh-huh.
They do, and I hate to say that they do. It's
Yeah.
with you. I'm not stirring the pot to get people fired because I don't
No.
think that's the answer.
What is,
Uh,
I guess okay, there's just so many things. Okay, so Dorian Thompson Robinson, already mentioned him briefly, but
mm,
he's not obviously the answer.
no,
Do you think that he could stay in Cleveland as a backup eventually, or do you think
yeah,
he'll?
yeah.
Okay, he could still
I
be
think he
one of their
could for
backups.
another year, another
Uh,
backup. I honestly think that I heard this scenario, which is more than likely if Kirk Cousins wants to come here,
mhm.
is that he's probably going to get cut by March 16th
Yes,
because they don't want to pay him that 10 million. We
right.
could sign him for the league minimum, no draft picks, nothing. We got him.
Hmm.
See what he does. That's
Hmm.
taking a flyer on a guy.
Hmm.
I could also see us drafting a guy in the first 3 rounds, depending on
Hmm.
where we're at in the first. If we don't either get a shot at Shador Sanders or Cam Ward, I don't see us taking a quarterback in the first round.
Hmm.
I see us taking either Abdul Carter or Mason Graham.
Hmm.
That's where I see us going with that. Maybe a third round, Carson Beck from Georgia, and
Hmm.
see what you got with him.
Hmm.
Go and actually go in with your three quarterbacks of, you know, of Kirk Cousins,
Hmm.
Carson Beck, DTR. You could go into this year with that and giving Carson Beck an opportunity to kind of learn the offense and
Hmm.
and develop for a
Yeah,
year or two. Uh, I don't see Winston coming back because they're done with him,
yeah.
and and I think Watson's going to start the season on the pup. So that's why I see them going with the quarterback. And getting Kirk Cousins for like nothing is a no brainer because that helps you relieve you of this contract. Now, what else you do
Right.
with that money in free agency? You could free up some stuff. I'm hearing a rumor that T. Higgins could come here. I'll believe it when I
Hmm.
see it.
Sure.
Joe Allen, a running
Hmm.
back to complement a healthy Nick Chubb would be
Uh-huh.
nice. Plus drafting a running back. There's a lot of really good running backs in this
There
draft.
are a lot of good, right.
So there's talent to be added. You use free agency for needs, and you use the draft for talent. So
Yeah.
sometimes the talent can meet the need too. So,
After
but anyway,
watching
mhm.
DTR play yesterday, I mean, I would have rather had, Winston with all of his mistakes throwing the ball at least for 400 yards
Yeah.
yesterday than saw. I mean, what we saw yesterday was just,
I, I
I mean,
I don't.
I felt bad for somebody like Jerry Judy. I feel bad for a guy like these guys because they're
Yeah,
probably
Judy
not.
got hurt. How bad is he hurt? I don't.
Oh, I don't know. Did they
He got
mention
hurt.
that?
Yeah, he got hurt on a play, but he
I thought he
he was.
came back in though.
Did he come back in? Okay, he
Mhm.
might have. I that
I think
that
he
one.
did.
He. I mean, yeah, you're right. I do feel bad when he's going up against a quarterback that can't get him the ball because
No, and
he's a
God,
very
DTR is
talented
just
guy.
his passes, they're just not crisp. He doesn't have a touch on his passes. Now I like the idea. I mean, his run game. I mean, his ability to
Mhm.
get through some seams and get a few yards. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a positive for him. But he's not able to you
Do
know
you
do both.
do you see the Browns changing their offensive philosophy the next 2 weeks with DTR? Because from what I
Uh,
heard, Stefanski said if healthy, he's starting.
yeah, for
So
sure.
doing what
Yeah,
they did in the second half against Cincinnati versus the first half, they were trying to do pocket passing and normal
right,
West Coast offense type stuff, and it wasn't working.
right.
And I was like, it wasn't. It just was. So they made the adjustments at halftime, which okay, I could at least see something positive. And really,
Mhm.
that 24-6 score wasn't indicative. It was a little bit
It was
closer than that.
close. Well, yeah,
Yeah.
sure. I mean, it's 17-6 at one point early or midway late in
We
the
had two
third
turnovers
quarter.
and we had two
Yeah,
turnovers
the
basically in
first
their end zone.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that was,
Yeah.
you consider what happened the whole game from the very beginning. We should have scored a touchdown
Yeah.
at
Oh
the
yeah. And
very
that was
start.
and
We
and,
should,
and Jerome Ford has been playing really well. He ups his average because he busts off those big runs.
yeah, yeah.
That's what he does. He's kind of like
Well,
got that Barry Sanders
when
stat.
he busted that first one yesterday, God, I
Oh
didn't think he
yeah.
was going to do it, and then he got it, and then I'm thinking, oh God, not. Then they tracked him down. I'm like, oh shit, like because then I knew that we were close, but then they got the first down, they got it within the 1 yard line. So I'm
Mhm.
thinking, okay, now we can punch it in, felt pretty good about it. So when he fumbled it, that was just,
Yeah,
par,
yeah.
par for the course as a Browns fan.
You hear
So the
things.
game sucked. We're 3-12, Lou.
Yep.
3-12, Lou.
And nobody's getting fired. Well, there's going to be changes, but not with the head coach and the GM. There'll be changes after a season
So
like
who
this.
will be fired in your mind?
I could see Bubba Ventrone
Uh-huh.
getting fired. I
What
could
about
see.
Ken Dorsey?
Uh I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm kind of 50-50 on that. I see Ventrone's gone. Ken Dorsey's kind of 50-50
Mm-hmm.
because quarterbacks he had to work with. I could see him coming back for another year. And if they bring in Kirk Cousins and they're trying to win now,
Mm-hmm.
they could very well go back to that more Minnesota style offense that Stefanski uses versus them
Mm-hmm.
trying to make the offense more like Deshaun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because they tried to do that with Deshaun, it didn't work, and they tried to do something. They tried with the first half. They tried to put a square peg in a round hole with DTR, and I'm going like when they started doing the RPO stuff, it
Yeah.
worked. It was working when he came in against Cincinnati when we were at the game. Were you at that game
No.
when Watson tore his
I was
Achilles?
actually in Kansas that weekend. Yeah, I was
Okay,
visiting.
okay,
I was at the
okay.
Brown.
So it was working for him then. So if it works, plus Trey Hendrickson against the third Jermaine Ifedi was just my god. You talk about one of the best NFL pass rushers next
Yeah.
to Myles Garrett in the league
Right.
against the third string tackle. You got a
Right.
game. The RPO stuff would kind of negate that a little bit. So that's what would kind of help. He was
Did
getting a lot, and I
just
felt bad for the guy.
side note here, what do you think of the announcers? We were ripping the announcers yesterday after the game. Ethan and I were. They were just
I had my
silly.
earbuds in and I was
Yeah.
listening on the
Radio.
radio. Yeah,
Oh,
I did
that's
with
better.
Odyssey app. Yeah, I was listening to Siciliano and Zagura, so I was
That's
ripping.
better. Well,
I
these guys, I mean, at one point, Lou, I swear to God, go back and watch the TV broadcast. The one goofball who was doing the TV broadcast mentioned Cedric Tillman and mentioned him like he was their go-to and he'd been injured. So now Jerry Judy's kind of stepped in. And I'm like, whoa, no, where have you been like the last 6 weeks? Trying to suggest that Cedric Tillman was the main guy. Like, who are you talking about? So I don't
Yeah,
know what that was all about, but
yeah, I know. Myles Garrett after the game, did you hear his comments? Did you hear what he said? I mean, did you actually hear?
yes, yeah, I
Yeah,
watched it.
yeah. He made comments earlier in the week too, which
Yeah,
is like they're just shocked that Mary Kay Cabot said before the game, I was listening on the pregame, was I was shocked that he said this. And
Mary Cage is so annoying. I'm going.
well,
Just,
I'm like, she's shocked and she's surprised, but I'm really not because if you've ever been an athlete, he's pretty much in the prime years of his career.
he's eighth year here in Cleveland.
Eighth year, he's gonna turn 29 on Sunday. He's his 29th
Yeah,
birthday
yeah,
on Sunday. So
yeah.
you're talking about a guy that knows once he hits his 30s that his opportunity to win a Super Bowl
Mm-hmm,
is kind of the window's
mm-hmm,
closing. He wants to know what we're doing
mm-hmm.
before he commits to staying here, which
Sure.
I don't blame him.
Mm-mm.
I would not blame him at all. And I said, hey, there's fans that are saying, hey, what's the plan? What are you going to do? So
Mm-hmm,
they probably want more transparency from them, what the plan
mm-hmm,
is. I don't think they're going to do that with the fans. They'll do it with Miles.
mm-hmm,
They're not going to publicly announce what they're going to do, so because other people will know
mm-hmm.
what you're doing.
Right.
But their plan will be seen through their actions once the offseason starts in March, or even before that. I could see. I think Dante Foreman's gone.
Sure.
Probably Prochet's gone. I'm thinking those players that are underperforming are gone. Jed Wills
Yeah.
isn't coming back.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I was thinking about that this morning. Like the top, like falters, the top 5 players that really have lost their luster since we've brought them into Cleveland, like Jedrick Wills. I'll tell you, Martin Emerson has really disappointed me. I don't know about you
Okay.
on the cornerback position. I know he's just coming back from injury, but
he's having a down year. I agree.
I was
He's
so
having a down year.
excited after the first. I think he's in his 3rd year now.
This is his 3rd year. He's having a
Yeah.
down year.
That
We'll
first
see how
year, yeah.
see how he is next year. Yeah. Now, what about Newsome?
I don't like Newsome. I've never liked Newsome. I get tired. Well, I already mentioned this. I've been annoyed, and I know this is part of the defense and their collaboration and all this stuff, but all the freaking dancing and all the little this, that.
Oh, the
Greg Newsom's like
celebration
the
stuff.
king of that. And then, he'll dance. And then what was the game? Was it the first game of the season? Wasn't there, remember where the defense was kind of celebrating early on? Was that against Dallas? Like it was the first game of the season and then there was like a penalty and they were in the end zone, or was that, am I thinking about another year where they
You
were
might think
all,
about another year. I think so. We didn't have much to celebrate against Dallas
no,
this year. I don't think that happened. I know there was a penalty called on Justin Jefferson yesterday. I don't know if you saw that.
no,
Minnesota.
no.
He was taunting after he scored a touchdown on Seattle. I mean, it was
Oh,
obvious. Yeah, and they called it for him an unsportsmanlike. What's
what,
yeah, yeah.
what do you think? Like, all right, let me just throw this on different subject, but kind of sticking with Mary Kay. Did you see Mary Kay's? You mentioned the Bungles, and their good offense and Joe Burrow.
Mm-hmm.
We're not Joe Burrow fans or Cincinnati fans. I was a little.
No, but
Mary Kay made some comment about, oh, it's a real loss for the NFL, not if Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals don't make it to the playoffs. And I'm like, screw you, Mary Kay. You're supposed to be cheering for the freaking Browns. What do you like?
yeah,
I
yeah.
was just
That's
annoyed. I
just.
get see this is the kind of stuff that I get annoyed by because it's
I,
like
I get it.
they're not like you're not committed to, and then they just have annoying questions and they're just annoying.
Like Tony Grossi was saying, how do you survive 3-14? How do you well, you know how you survive it is you've been with the team. This is your fifth year with the team.
Yeah,
You have 2 NFL Coach of the Years, 2 playoff appearances, and a playoff win in Pittsburgh. That's how you survive it. If this is like your second year and you
yeah,
haven't had a winning season yet, you probably don't. Now, if we're back here again with only 3 wins 1 year from now,
yeah,
here we are, December 23rd,
yeah.
2025, they're gone.
They
That's simple.
have to be gone. Like we talked
They'll
about
be
this
gone.
the other night on the other show, the Fanatical Elves show, that
Mhm.
if they do, like if they start out 1-4, 1-5 next year, I got to think that they got to get rid of them at that point. You can't go that you can't
I
get
don't know.
three
I
and
don't
four.
know if they'll do it at that early, but yeah, we don't even know the schedule yet. We don't know what moves
Right,
they made yet. It's so
right.
far ahead. But they had. I think they know they have to turn this around.
Mhm.
They know they
Yeah.
have to turn
Well,
this
Lou,
around.
hey, let's appreciate everybody following us here on the Fanatical Elves, part of Fans First. We're going to pause real quick for a commercial
Okay.
break. We'll be right back. And we're back here on
We
Stirring
got
the Pot.
Rosie. Rosie,
Right,
thanks for
Rosie.
commenting. Yeah, stop putting right tackles at left tackle, and yeah, we got guys hurt. Yeah, and vice versa. Yeah, okay. I hear you. I hear
Thank
you.
you. Thank you for
What,
following
oh,
us. Also,
oh,
download our shows. That you're your Bungle fan. Yeah, Tim.
who they good game yesterday?
He's
Hope you all
Tim follows us.
see
Thank
things
you, Tim.
change.
But I don't know if you know.
We mean
Um,
change. We change for the better. Yeah, I mean.
um, no, thanks again. Download us on Apple and Spotify.
Mhm,
And if you want any good coffee, Hemisphere Coffee Roasters on our Twitter page or our X
mhm.
page, that would be greatly appreciated. Lou, where are you? Like, you're going to be at the game Sunday against Miami.
Mhm.
It's the final home game. What are your expectations going into that one? Because Miami won, right?
None.
Didn't Miami win?
Miami won. They're playing for a
So
playoff
they're still
spot.
playing a play out.
We're playing for spoiler or a draft pick.
Mhm.
So I put that in my article. It seemed like one team was playing for a yeah, you got a message from Tim, but I can't put it up.
Uh
Uh, yeah, thanks, Tim. We can't put that on. Uh,
oh.
like you got. I said one team was playing for a playoff spot, and the other team was playing for a higher draft pick. That's what it's. I honestly, I have zero expectations.
Yes.
Zero. I mean, because I already know what's going to happen. If something, because one, it's supposed to be like 49 degrees.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, we know it's cold when we want it to be cold. It's warmer.
Right. Right.
Yeah, yeah. So
Now, it sounds like it could be rainy that day too. But
it's possible. It's
that
possible. Yeah, it's possible. So I just saying that I don't have any expectations. I honestly really don't, but I could hear it happen if we somehow win the next game or the next 2 games.
Mhm,
People are going to complain about it
mhm.
because we're going to.
Why? Why?
Why
Yeah,
did we screw up our draft position? What the hell?
right.
And when we lose, they're going to complain. Well, why can't we win? Well,
Yeah.
it's like that's
We're
those are the
screwed.
people. Those are the people that bother me. Like that do that because then
Yeah.
there's gonna be articles saying, well, they shouldn't have won. Then
Yeah.
there's gonna be articles saying, well, what they're losing. Well, what do you want?
Right.
I mean, so we're at the point now. I have zero expectations. I'm gonna write. When I write, you read my articles. I
Well,
write what I see. I call it like it
you
is.
yeah. No, the fact is, I mean, like you and I are both. We have been fans since the early 1980s or late
Mhm,
70s for
mhm.
myself, and we have
Close to the
seen
same
so
age. Yeah.
much. Uh, it's just it's
It's
surprising that we're where we're at. So that gives me some, like, even though this has been a depressing season and we keep losing, I am
mhm.
optimistic because we have had other years of success in the last couple of years with Stefanski, that I'm not trying to run him out the door right now. And but
No,
it's just
no,
been one
no.
of those, I think Myles Garrett touched on it yesterday in his presser when he mentioned how we could only have lost 5 or 6 games this year, but we didn't. Instead, we're where we're at. We've lost
Right.
12. And that was a difference of, there's several every year you get a couple games where it could have gone this way or that way.
Yep. That's the
You go
NFL.
back to the first Bungles game. Yes, Tim, I said Bungles because I love your Bungles. We go back to that game. I mean, with Deshaun Watson going down with
Mhm.
injury, then it kind of, you brought in 2 different uh quarterbacks. There's other
Right.
games that get the Giants game. There were opportunities to win that game. The Dallas game, the first game of the season, there were, we didn't get off to, I don't know. So there were just opportunities. So
There were opportunities. Well, the Giants game, we jumped out early. The offensive line, for some reason, just didn't block, and Watson played horrible. There's the Raiders. That's another one. Uh,
yeah,
there's
what was
a
I'm
handful
trying
of
to
games that we had opportunities. Yeah, the Bengals game at home when I mean, we lost. What was it? We lost,
I'm
was it
pulling up
21 to
the
14? Yeah, we lost
yeah,
21 to 14, and that one was, they opened up the first play of the game. They returned the kickoff for a touchdown.
that's
That was
right.
that was
Yep.
the difference in the game. So there's stuff like that. When you have stuff like that happening, I like to take this approach I learned to take this approach in life in my older age. When things are bad and
Yes.
yeah, because we all go through stuff. We all do.
Yep.
And instead of having the mindset of, why is this happening to me? Why is this happening?
Mhm.
Take a moment and say, what am I supposed to learn from this?
Mhm.
So I think that a lesson here for a lot of people, for any NFL team, was you're in the NFL, you're not really as good as you think you are. You're
Mhm.
not, and you're not as bad as you think you are. So we're somewhere in between there. I think we are a better team than our record. We have to make the right moves to get back, and it's not going to take a complete overhaul to do it. There's
No.
a lot of question marks still. Like Watson's not going to be able to play at the beginning of the season, and I don't care. I'm
Yeah,
fine with that.
right.
We got to move on. We got to figure out. We got to get a veteran bridge guy in here,
Mhm.
whoever it might be,
Mhm.
and I think that's the first step. Rebuild the offensive line, and then make
I
make.
like I mean, the running back situation too. I think they've got to go back, like the type of offense that they play. Whose offense is it? Is it going to be Dorsey? Is it going back to Stefanski? It will be tight end, Happy, or tight end, work
Yeah,
those guys in. The running game, you're going to get Nick Chubb back. You'll have Jerome Ford. Jerome Ford, at least I've seen a little bit of, in my eyes, seen some better things where he's trying to move the ball forward. He's hitting some of these holes a little bit better. Obviously, he broke off that one for 66 yesterday. I mean, he's having a nice season.
he had a big run against Kansas City too the week before, a touchdown.
Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was nice. Plus, I think health will be a big factor in this too. In the offensive line, I mean, there's people there. We need to inject some youth into it. We need to get younger. We need to get better.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's
Yeah.
opportunities in this draft to get a good running back. There's opportunities to get a good defensive player. Now, Mike Hall, that was another one I put in my
Yep.
article. He had a good game.
Michael Hall,
Mike.
Isaiah McGuire,
Mhm.
both these guys.
These
The
are
other
these are
guy,
Andrew Berry draft picks. These are
mhm,
Andrew Berry draft picks.
yeah.
I'm just letting you
Well,
guys
the
know. I mean,
Isaiah McGuire kid from Missouri, I always liked him when he came out of the draft.
yeah.
I wrote about him before we drafted him,
Oh,
and
good, good.
was really intrigued by him because he had some really he had some flair. And
Yeah.
then, like, you think about some of the other guys, Alex Wright will get back. who's
Mhm.
been injured, who
You
should be
figure we get DeJuan Jones back, another draft pick of his, and if Martin Emerson could figure out what's wrong, that's not too
yeah,
bad. No, I mean, he's having a down year. I mean, it
yeah,
happens. I'm just
yeah.
saying he's having they're not gonna give up on him, after a
Mhm.
down year. I mean, a down year for him is probably better than some other people too. He and this is Greg Newsom's last season of
Mhm.
his contract is
Right.
next year, and JOK, if he can come back healthy, you got some stuff to work with here. So we really have to. Like I said, but the way I ended my article was like when the season's over with, they got to pick up the pieces that are worth keeping and get back to work on winning.
The focus initially after the season will be on free agency. That'll open first. That'll be what, the first part of March, I think, is when
Mhm.
that happens.
And
We have the combine, don't we? Like in February
yep,
in
and then the draft
Indianapolis,
and the
and then we'll
draft in
have the
April.
free agency, and then we have the draft.
Mhm.
So yeah, lots of pieces the Browns will look at, will
Okay.
focus on. It's not. I mean, this
Yeah.
this this season has been crap.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like
Oh, it's been a horrible season.
I
Horrible
just
season.
it's so hard to fathom because we all had these conversations so much in August and September on these shows talking about just all the potential coming off of that season that we had, which
Yeah.
was remarkable in its own. Just a surprise. It was just, and then
It's a
you get,
shock. It's not even a surprise. I call it a shock. It's like,
yeah,
whoa. It's like when you're expecting the water to be hot in the shower and it's ice cold. It's like, whoa.
right, right.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just like that. Um, before we wrap this up or anything, I know we're 26 minutes in,
Oh,
but
it's okay. We got things to do, Lou. We got
well,
other.
I know we got things to do, but I wanted to talk about it since it is a Brown show. But did you go to the game Saturday night, the Ohio State Tennessee game?
Oh no, no, I did not. I
I
watched it
watched I watched it and I
from
covered
the
it.
warmth
Yeah.
of my home.
What's your
Um,
takeaway? What's your takeaway on that game?
I've not been a Ryan Day fan, so a lot of people were,
I'm right there with
afterwards,
you. Yeah.
saying how, well, now what are they going to do? By the way, I'll just say this: Kirk Herbstreit. I'm so tired of his takes. I don't know if you've watched any of those takes
Yeah, I
of
was
late,
listening. I
but
was actually,
did
yeah.
you see the whole thing about the whole wins thing? I'm sorry, dude.
The
Like,
wins.
did you see his comments about wins and the better team stuff that he was talking about after one of the games? He was basically saying that we shouldn't be just looking at wins. We should be looking at who the better team is. And I'm like, dude, like, what planet are you on? I mean, he was just completely talking crap. He wasn't giving credit to Indiana. He wasn't giving credit. He was basically saying these teams shouldn't have been there. I'm like, okay, fine, they shouldn't be there, but don't damn them. Don't, like, I just thought
Yeah.
it was, is it, for Ohio State, I thought, yeah, the way that they came out, I mean, the whole play set, the offense, everything they were doing was completely the polar opposite of what they did against Michigan. And why
They
the hell
came
did they
out.
not do it that way?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean,
They came out like a pissed off team in that
yes.
first. They
And
were
Smith
pissed.
is amazing. I mean, Smith
Yes.
is going to be a certain number, top 5 pick in whatever
I'm,
draft
I'm looking forward to New Year's Day, watching the Rose Bowl. And I said,
right?
if we get past Oregon, we beat Oregon, we got a very good chance of winning the national
Well, we
championship.
could have won it. We should have won it out there, right? Didn't I
Yeah,
mean? Wasn't that? I mean,
yeah, yeah. I mean, if
down
this
to
team
Will
plays
Howard.
when they can, yeah, it's just like, why didn't you just pass more against Michigan instead of trying to run the ball when you didn't have the linemen to go up against their tackles? Because
Mm,
most of our linemen were hurt. You should have just, instead of running to their strength or playing to their strengths, you play to their
mm,
weaknesses, which their secondary couldn't keep up with our receivers.
mm.
Do quick pass. I mean, it was mind boggling that they couldn't do that against Michigan. However, what's done is done. They have to moving forward, they have to do that. They could beat Oregon up. Absolutely they could.
Yeah.
They could you know I'd like this. I can't
So
wait
if
to
they
watch
beat
it.
Oregon, then they have to probably play. Who do they play the winner of in that one?
Oh shoot, I have to
Is
look
it
at what is it.
Texas, Arizona State?
I think so. I think you're right.
Okay.
I'm more focused on Oregon right now.
I saw a draft, by the way, here in Cleveland that somebody wanted to draft Kyle McCord, who's used to be the Buckeye quarterback, who's at Syracuse, that the Browns draft him. By the way, I don't know if you saw
What
anything like that.
round? What round? Like
Like the fifth
eighth?
or sixth round. Yeah, it was like a late
Well,
round.
they might do that, but I wouldn't.
No, I was impressed with what the Buckeyes did. I like their all red uniforms. I thought that was pretty
Mhm.
cool. Um, just yeah, I think they have a good run game. I think the Buckeyes have a 1-2 tandem in Henderson, and then the other kiddo, Junkins. Smith is an outstanding receiver. They have other outstanding receivers as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't like Ryan Day very much. I still think that people were saying, well, what if they lose now to Oregon? Are you gonna all clamor for him to get fired? I'm like, I have lost a lot of interest in Ryan Day. I don't think that. I mean, if they can get all the way to the title game, I mean, if they can get to the title game, they can win the next 2 games over Oregon and then whoever else they play.
Yeah.
I'll give Ryan Day a little bit more credit. I don't think he has it in him, but if his team can circle the wagons and follow his lead, I'll give him some more credit. I think that, I mean, it was a big win. It was a home game. There were a lot of Tennessee fans here. So it was good. Columbus, the city of Columbus needed it. That's all they talk about down here, Lou, on the news. It's 24/7.
Buckeyes.
Like, dude, it's like, this is when I was growing up, Lou. I don't know about you, but I mean, I've always been a Buckeye fan.
Mm-hmm. That's what we were in Ohio State house. Yeah.
But it was never like, it was so much growing up. And so I was not unhappy to, leave and follow some other teams.
I talked to a Buckeye fan that has an autographed football of all the Heisman Trophy winners of Buckeyes up to Troy Smith.
Really?
Yeah, and I said that's probably with Hopalong Cassidy. I'm talking about, I don't know, Archie Gibson, Eddie George.
Yeah.
So it's there's another one, Janikowski.
Eddie George, by the way, that came up in conversation in our last show on the Fanatical Elves. He took Tennessee State pretty far this year in the playoffs and in their division of football. And somebody was saying that Eddie George, could he be a
candidate to take over?
Yes.
Guys.
Yes.
I was thinking Vrabel more than him.
Well, you and I've mentioned that before, right?
Yeah. Maybe. I don't know if Eddie George would be interested or what they'd want to do, but yeah. Hey, Luke Fickell did a great job again at Cincinnati. And then now he's at Wisconsin. So yeah.
Well, the whole college game is changing. Did you see any of this weekend? We talked about in the other show as well, just all this NIL stuff and the portal and the players moving. It's just so hard to find loyalty or to follow a team because players are always moving and there's you don't know who the players are for these teams. I even like Bill Belichick going to North Carolina. Do you think that do you think Belichick is doing this more because the college game is changing and evolving into more
he's going to run it like an NFL franchise.
In an NFL, right? Is that with these contracts and the NILs that I think that's what's that way, and that it was more appealing to him that he doesn't plan on like recruiting.
Well, probably because his girlfriend's a student there.
We talked all about that too. Is the fact that of course that's the real benefit right now. That
he's making sure.
He's taking advantage of, which is really sick in my mind. But that's my own opinion. I've shared it already on my other Johnny Cleveland podcast the other day.
We talked about that. I had to go there.
No, it's all right.
I'm surprised that didn't come out during the Tom Brady roast, or that might have been before that.
Well, Lou, any final thoughts before we?
Well, just like I said, take the lesson as to what I think we're supposed to all learn from this, and maybe be humbled by it. And please do. I think they mentioned that. I heard that being mentioned for the TV people that Savansky says sports does humble you. It does. It does. It can. And I think based on the reports and everything, regardless what happens the next 2 weeks, Stefanski and Barry are going to be here for 2025.
Yeah.
So I think the Cleveland media and I'm behind Myles Garrett for wanting to win and wanting to see the plan to win. And I completely agree with him on that. He is obviously one of the best players in the NFL, probably best players the Browns have drafted since 1999. And he's going to go down in front. 100 sacks at the age before he turns 29, youngest player to ever do that.
Yeah. I wonder how much pressure his comments literally have put on the team, or if any, that him coming out talking like that, because you've seen different takes on that. Did it put any unexpected
There's
pressure?
already pressure on these guys. Yeah,
sure.
They already know. Yeah. Sure. Might be. It might. It might. He wants to stay here. He said he wants to stay here. However, he wants to win here. So we got to win. So, hey, I'll put up my end, you put up your end. So that's really that's what I got out of it. Now, of course, this Cleveland sports media, people that never laced up a pair of cleats,
right,
never put on a pair of pads, never put on a helmet, they know what to do. They know what it takes. So these people, just like I said, we got people in place now. Let's see what they do. Let's just see what they do, and let's be humbled. And hey, last thought, everybody, have a Merry Christmas. Enjoy your families. Enjoy your family.
Merry, 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 Merry.
You too, Tim. Merry Christmas.
Yeah, you too, Tim.
he's still calling.
I'm not even gonna look. Tim, thanks for watching us.
No, we appreciate
it. We appreciate you following us here, even though you're not a big Browns opponent or proponent. But everybody have a great Merry Christmas. Go Browns.
Hold on. We could put this one up. Thanks, Tim.
Thank you, Tim.
Thank you, Tim.
See y'all later. Go Browns.